So you can get in that way, and then when you're in the background,
I
so
always
we can be more side to side on YouTube, and here it's gonna be what it is, right?
Hey, I got my crown put back on.
Your what?
My crown, remember? Hey.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Enough that. What is this shit? Close. All right. Well, we're live on YouTube and we're on TikTok. Of course, it's the simulcast. I don't have the hat on. I don't have the whistle. I have the whistle. I got all the shit I need.
Blow it, blow
it. Where'd it go? Oh, it fell.
He said, I don't know.
Doesn't really matter. We're trying to drive in. Thanks for coming. Look at how many people are jumping on right away. I know people just skip in. It tells you they're joining, but there's only one person who's staying on. We're starting a new podcast. This is my buddy Al.
Hi.
We're new friends. We're vibing right now. We barely know each other, but we've really identified Christian nationalism as the root problem
100%.
in modern American politics. And
it is the foundation of everything that is happening right now.
So we're going to start a new podcast. Hey, Bohemian, how are you? Bohemian Lucy is my good friend.
Hey.
And she's always supportive. But we're really not trying to concentrate on TikTok. I turned on the TikTok to drive people to here today because we were at an earlier event. We couldn't really go live at the normal time on the talk. But we've decided to start a new podcast. And so we're just going to practice and go live on YouTube. We've got the landscape camera and we can kind of get side by side and look at the screen and take comments better. So I'm not trying to pay attention necessarily to the YouTube, to the TikTok as much as per usual. I'm going to have more traffic there. So we might have to just keep on talking to people.
Either way.
But let's just talk. You are, obviously quite a bit younger than me, but it was your idea. Let's just tell each other where did you come from? How did you get to the point where you're pissed about this?
As a woman, right? I think that naturally we have more of the oppressive side of things that the Heritage Foundation is pushing through. I have been an atheist for, I don't know, many years now. I don't exactly know how I got to this point. I just knew that Christian nationalism was the root of everything that's happening. They are in charge of, women's rights. And I think that's really what did it. And they are the reason that there are so many people that are being, railroaded by what's happening. People with disabilities, LGBTQIA, obviously Black and brown people. That's like the main thing. And I think that more people that look like me, that are my age, really need to start stepping up and paying attention. And that's why I'm here.
Word. Now, how were you raised? What was your religious upbringing?
So I was raised as a Catholic. I have a very religious family. My mom and all my aunts and uncles on her side, they all went to private school.
Are they clutching the rosary? Are they clutching that rosary?
Yeah, yes. And here I come as an atheist, right?
Yeah,
just ruining the whole system. Just like, oh, this devil child, what has happened? And I can't really say explicitly what it was that brought me here. Just my sense of justice and moral values, that you don't need to be religious to have moral values. And I just saw all of it playing in real time. I'm, in education. And I think the number one thing, though, was when my dad was telling me a story, how he got to just being his, free thinker self, I suppose. He was told by his church teacher that dogs don't have souls, so they won't be going to heaven. And that was it for me. That was it, because if anybody's going to heaven, if there was one, it'd definitely be dogs.
Right?
They are the most innocent things ever. And then once you recognize the propaganda that has been pushed down our throats since, we were born, religion isn't everything, everywhere, all of the time. And once you start recognizing that not all good things come from religion. In fact, I don't think any good things come from religion. You're supposed to love your neighbor regardless of whether or not you believe in a God. You're supposed to take care of others and love each other and take care of one another. And that's not what's happening right now. So,
well, I feel like you bring up a good point that you don't need religion to be moral, right? And in fact, if you really break down religion, little of it is very moralistic at all, especially the God that they try to feed to us in Western religion. But I feel like religion was an unavoidable part of our psychological evolution. I feel like there was no way that early man wasn't gonna, in the absence of real science, right? I don't think there's any way they were gonna be like,
absolutely, it goes back to the ancient cultures, right? Yeah, for sure.
And I do think in a lot of times in history, it probably stopped certain people from doing things that were against their better nature, right? But don't you think that in the age we live in, we've gotten to the
being punished,
right?
That's
it was
a
fear, definitely, absolutely, which is not necessarily healthy.
Right.
But I think maybe it served its purpose in some ways in keeping society together that is no longer necessary, is my point.
Right.
I think,
absolutely.
Don't you agree that we can educate people to the point where they don't need a guilt and fear carrot and stick, right?
To be good human beings.
To be a good
absolutely.
human being. So
100%.
that's where I'm at on it.
And how did you get here?
Well, I went to like a normal church in New England where we enjoyed science. We didn't deny what was verifiable fact, right? We didn't try to pretend that it was what it wasn't, right? It's like, okay, well, there's probably a loving God, or we'd be really worse off. And we didn't give a lot of credence to the hell and brimstone shit. It was like there was always debate in the back of the church about the nature of things, even Jesus's divinity or our immortal soul, as you bring up, which is clearly just a myth. But I was not, it wasn't hardcore religion for one thing. My mom still is in it, and she kind of went retro to kind of stay with the church. She sort of had to, right? In the 80s when it got really sort of conservative and born again became a thing.
And she was just able to own her own bank account at that time.
So. Right, yeah, right. Even the Handmaid's Tale hadn't taken over yet. But, I went on to college and just kind of was comfortable thinking for myself. And so I just sort of went, my deconstruction, as they say, was, okay, well, there must be something out there to, some vague spiritual ideas of my own invention. Because I figured early on, I'm like, none of these can be true because they're all different and no one knows and no one can prove it. So every guess of religion is just a guess and no one can be right, which means that.
And not one of them is more right than the other.
Right. So, and none of them have any more claim to be able to be right. So clearly they're all wrong. It's really what, right? So if there is a God and there is a spiritual side of things and there is a metaphysical universe that we can't really put our finger on, my idea of what that is just as valid as the touchable who made up Christianity all those years ago, or the early myth, right? Why am I, who's got all the education of the modern world behind me, why is my idea of religion less valid than Saint Fuckstick from, God knows when, right? Or whoever made up the very early myths.
Because like I said earlier, if God was real, he most certainly would have been a woman.
It was popular in the 70s to talk about God. It must be a woman.
How could it not be? The creator of all things?
Yes, I can't disagree. And I think that probably that was a much more common theme in early religion, where women who give birth to, right, the original goddess would give birth to the universe. It's just pretty obvious for you.
Right. Because women are the creators.
Right. So I think that was something that was shoved up.
And religion is what happens when we allow the patriarch to take over.
Right. And that's how it evolved in the West. And we see some native faiths, I think, where women.
Yeah, we stole those too. We stole their beliefs, their religion, their practices, and then we whitewashed them and said assimilate or else.
Or marginalize their small societies that are still independent, but they don't have to work on the world stage. Right?
I don't have to believe in a God to know that those things are not good human traits.
No. So at some point, I was like, this is obviously all just bullshit. Right. So I just quit. It wasn't traumatic. I had a good church experience, honestly. When I grew up my church, I loved it. When I grew up, I had fun. My friends were there. I learned things.
You get to eat like the graham crackers with the marshmallow fluff. That's what I remember.
Potluck dinners. It was in New England. It was idyllic. It was really little white church on a hill, which burned. I was sad. Oh. My church was like 170 years old in New England, a little bitty town. And it was just a matchstick, right? And so eventually the electrics set it on fire.
And churches are beautiful. Their architecture
is beautiful. It was lovely. And it was great memories of childhood. And so it's a dramatic picture of it completely engulfed in flame, like the wrath of God on the church itself. It's so I was emotional about that. It was a real hard part of my childhood, a big part of my childhood.
If I walked into a church now, I would spontaneously combust.
I always leap aside. I figure I could beat the lightning bolt if I just keep on dodging.
Right? It's gonna be quicker than that.
That's not true. I enjoy churches in their way, right?
Yes, and they have their place, 100%. And I love that people are able to practice those religions, their beliefs in their own way. I don't believe that it belongs within schools or our government. And it shouldn't be forced upon people. That is the whole purpose of the First Amendment.
That's right. That's right. Quick toot out, you guys. We're on YouTube today, so I'm not paying a lot of attention to the TikTok. That's where I have traction, obviously. So Al and I, their name is Al. Are you a pronoun person? What's up with that? I'm asking just what.
Yeah, she, her.
She, her. Okay. Anyway, you have a Y in your name, and that always makes a guy like my age is like, all right, they're probably trying to be androgyny wise.
No, I guess my parents were just really woke.
Okay, so that's how it was.
Yeah, that's just my name.
Good.
Yeah.
She's Alex. Yeah. That's cool. I figured I'd ask because I'm cool with that. I don't give a fuck what people call themselves.
He's too woke, you guys. He's way too woke.
Stop with that. I'm trying to be the geezer in the group here. No, but it's true. I mean, I'm poor with social progress. Why do I give a fuck what somebody calls themselves?
It's not hard. It's really not hard.
I mean, if I get it wrong, it's because I'm old or I just forget, not because I'm trying to diss you.
No, of course.
Right.
Of course.
So it's like
because you have a good moral compass within yourself.
Well, I think
you care about others.
I want people to
feel comfortable,
to not call me out of my name, like they say, right in the hood. I don't, right? So I try to call people what they want to be called, right? And I think that's what we have to lean on. It's
really that simple.
It's not about, but I'm not one of those guys who's like, I hate being told what to say too. So I get that reaction to the left. Yes, the opposite side. Like I'm a comedian at heart. I want to be able to say gypsy if I have a funny joke, right? And I get the memo that gypsy is like off the fucking list, right? To the point where they changed the name of the gypsy moth. Right? Really? That's kind of like, yes. The whatever, the Department of the Interior with the agriculture, whoever did it, they're like, let's take it out. It's called the Eastern, I don't know what the fuck. But they took the name gypsy, and I'm like, that's just stupid.
Now we're just we're good humans.
Yeah.
And we recognize both sides.
Right. So we want to create like a purple party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Oh, I like that. That's why I came up with that. Oh, that makes sense.
See, blue and red.
Yes, love it.
We need somebody to represent the middle, because literally living through this hell of one echo chamber after the other, and you're like, we're in the middle just watching these flaming cannonballs fly over us to the other side. Where on the right, it's just this ridiculous barrage of human rights violations. That's the only umbrella I can put it under. It's like the party of freedom and liberty is literally trying to shit on everybody's freedom and liberty.
100%, unless it aligns with their own beliefs, their own religion.
Well, see, that's going to bite them in the ass because every one of them's got something they wouldn't want the fucking government out on.
They don't recognize their own faults. That's
or their own vulnerability. It's like as soon as you open the door to the government saying what they can do and what you can't, Christian is okay. Well, now which Christian, right? Now the government needs to protect itself from your snake church because it's sanctioned Christianity. So it says no more snake church, right? And all this shit, you open the door, right? Atheists are the only ones who give a shit about your freedom of religion.
100%.
We really are.
Absolutely. Yes. Because as long as we're allowed to practice ours or lack thereof, you're allowed to practice yours. Whatever you do and practice and believe, and if you're spiritual or not, if you're LGBTQIA, whatever it might be, it doesn't matter. You're a human being and you deserve the same rights as everybody else.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And religion shouldn't be the dictator of that.
That's right. Even Romany people, you're right. Even Romany people deserve those protections. Lewis said, they're Romany. But if you say that, nobody, fucking uneducated, ignorant Americans don't even know what you're talking about. So, until I have a gypsy tell me, I don't really like that word. Okay, that's cool. But little old white lady in Vermont, don't tell me not to say gypsy. Just shut up. You don't know what's in my heart. That's the kind of thing that the right people on the right it just rankles them. And the people on the right are maybe they're shitbirds. They have the right. They have the right to their idiot opinions. They do. And to tell them that they're wrong every minute is not getting us anywhere. That got us Trump.
It did get us Trump.
Right?
Because, and that's a whole nother thing we could go off on, but it did get us Trump. The reason that we are in the place that we are at is because of this massive divide of I'm saying one thing, you're saying the other, you're not allowed to say this, but also that cognitive dissonance that comes from when somebody is told, no, you're supposed to be calling me this and that. And it also stems from a place of fear and misunderstanding. So, and And that's why I think that the whole transgender, the pronouns, that is a trigger topic, because it is so heavy in our policies right now, and it's in our media, and it is a driving force of why we're allowing oppression to happen in the first place. Anyway, that was a tangent, but that's the issue. We have a great divide, and this is our olive branch. The whole intention of this is to allow people to recognize that you can believe two things can be true at the same time. Right. But it doesn't, you don't have to identify with one or the other. You can just be a good human being and practice whatever you want to practice.
And this comes out of a place that both of us recognized us being in that we live, she's got the good fortune of living in a super red area, mm-hmm. and here she is pretty blue. But when you talk to the people around you, everyone loves each other. You get along.
I love my neighbors.
Whenever I go out west to see my dad, Montana, the people are, and again, okay, maybe it wouldn't be that way if I was a dark-skinned, right. African-looking dude. I'm a white guy. Doors are open to me. But there's nobody out there that I feel like is a jerk when I meet them or is trying to be. Everybody's friendly. Everybody's vibing. And there's brown people there too. So it's hard to paint any of that with a broad brush. They listen to the media and then they believe and they say. So you hate people, but you love persons, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's what we need. We need to get back to letting people meet each other. All of this is exacerbated by us being on the square, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's a lot easier to identify, or at least make assumptions of which side you are on, and avoiding those hard conversations. And I think that's something that we need to do more as a society is practice those critical thinking skills and have these hard conversations and being understanding and willing to see both sides and have a real intellectual conversation. And I don't feel that those are allowed to be and take place anymore. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to have conversations. Either people avoid them or they lack the communication skills, social emotional skills, to have those conversations. And those are skills that hopefully through this podcast, we can allow, give people those skills and have that go out into practice and they can apply that in their real lives. Yep. and start being a human again, being with your neighbor, being with your friends, and life can hopefully return back to normal and get away from this very tense state that we're in right now.
Toxic. It's just, mm-hmm. and it feeds itself. It's like a snowball rolling down the hill. And every time I turn on the TV, we were talking about this earlier. If you only listen to Fox News, you don't hear
right.
about what's going on in the middle. Mm-hmm. If you only listen to what are the ultra left places, I feel like even CNN does a good job presenting both sides. When I watch news on CNN, it's like they have a right-wing guy, and he's up there defending Trump, and he's up there, doing his job and trying to present both sides for the people, right? But you can still see him. They lean left. The bias mm-hmm. leans left. It really does. And we're trying to find the truth out there, and it's on everybody to fact check. Mm-hmm. But you can
cognitive bias is such an important thing that is happening right now, because when we scroll, our algorithms are tailored to us, and I'm guilty of it too. Obviously, I'll scroll and I'll get sucked in, and I'm like, wow, can you believe this shit? This is what's happening again. Did you hear this? And it's something new every single day. But being able to stop, take a breath, pause, remove yourself from your emotions, and recognize those things and do your own research. That's how we get back to the neutral. This is how we get back to being neighbors and friends,
and putting our eye back on the ball, which should be getting the most good done for the most people. That's why we live in a social republic, yes. right? That's why we live in a place like this. So it sounds Star Trek-y, but the good of the many, right? And right now, nobody's working for that. Yes. The people that we elect, I keep hearing people say they want their money back. Potential scam. Hello, I'm live on TikTok. Where's the algorithm when you need it? I mean, isn't it supposed to shut out phone calls?
I don't.
Phone calls never used to come through like
really?
That. Yeah.
There are notifications on?
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. I gotta help this guy.
Yeah, right. You can bring in a boomer joke, but right. Legit though, you're a millennial, right?
I am. Yeah. Oh boy, I am. Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm. She's one of the good ones, though.
Yeah, maybe.
You know how to take care of yourself, and
I was alive before Google.
See, there you go.
That's crazy, right?
That's a big.
Yesterday, though, when I was out, oh my God, this kid, he had his AirPods in, and I'm like, hey, what are you listening to? Just as we're cleaning up our event, and he's like, Kanye, and I made a joke, and I was like, oh, okay, Kanye Twitty as a joke, old country, right? And then he goes, oh, no, I don't listen to new country. And I was like, oh, man. And then he goes, I listen to Hank Williams. I was like, how about Ernest Tubb? And he goes,
how is Conway Twitty?
That? And then he goes, I was like, he's like, no, I said I don't listen to new country. And I said, no, he's before Hank Williams. And he goes, what are you, from the Stone Age? And that one hurt. That one hurt so bad. I'm like, oh my God, this is it. Like, this is where, like, you know, these kids come in and they say some out of pocket shit and it hurts my feelings.
Because you're over 30, you sort of feel old in the young people's world now, right? It's like that day's gone. You can't pretend anymore. I was about 27 when I finally started realizing you just can't pretend you're 21 anymore. It's over.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm still 26 though.
Yeah, no, you know, you look 26 though. You can pretend for a while.
Thanks. Yeah. Even after a night of and a full day of golfing and drinking heavily.
See, that's awesome, man. I wish I had golfed all day yesterday, but you know, we're like I said, we've only even been together like 3 times or 4 times in our lives. Mm-hmm. But every time we get together, we vibe about what's really seems to be important, mm-hmm. and that's like. I don't know what, if you can't turn on the TV and see that they're shoving Christianity down your throat, yeah, I don't know how to help you. Mm-hmm. And we were on a different podcast a minute ago, so I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I'm really not.
Right.
But if religion can't take care of itself to the point where it's asking the government for help, mm-hmm. then it's a pretty good sign that it's a bad religion. Because literally religion over the centuries, the people need it and like it so much that they support it. Mm-hmm. And now they're not. They don't need it. They don't like it.
Right.
How many people do you know that are your age are actually actively involved in religion?
The only ones that I do know are on the extreme side.
Right.
That's why in a local school over here where we live, they are now having regular Bible study and religious practice, Christianity, during regular public school hours. And I think this is where that boundary has now been crossed. Otherwise, the majority of people that I know that they're not super involved. They say that they are, right? Like, oh, I'm a Christian. I do this, but you know, they're not heavy duty. The majority of millennials, I would say, aren't extremely heavy duty, but if they are involved in religion, it is on the extreme side, and they are some of the top leaders in pushing it into our public school system. And I think that's where we really need to focus and recognize, like, whether you're Christian or not, this is where atheism is super important, is because we do care about somebody's freedom or freedom of, right? Because if your freedoms are being infringed upon, then so are mine. And there is no place for religion in politics, in our school systems. They do help with social programs, but they can't rely on them solely. But also that's a way of getting people back to the church, is enforcing people to be reliant on those social programs.
Yes.
And we were just talking about this on our last podcast. It puts a super burden on the churches, but the people that are running the churches are our local old ladies that are out there. My grandma started volunteering at her church, and she got a job there when she was like 86. And she was making school lunches for the people in her community, because kids were not eating at school. They couldn't afford it. They had no food at home. So she was involved in like supporting those kids eat, because if kids are hungry, they can't learn.
They can't learn. Oh,
the hierarchy of needs. So it is like our little local old ladies that are there out of the goodness of their hearts. Churches do have a place in society, and I love that for them. But we're putting the unnecessary burden on our local communities in that way, when we are giving all of our money into taxes. That why wouldn't we want our money to go to helping people in our community?
Right. That's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree completely. There's churches. We have churches and they serve the community.
Mm-hmm.
They're there, and all they do is lose money to stay alive and feed the people and do coat drives and stuff.
The good ones.
Yes, the good ones.
Then you have these mega churches, right?
Yes, and that's and Christianity's been distilled essentially into those two factions: mega churches and tiny poor country churches. Mm-hmm. And the mega churches have, made that distilled message so attractive to people. It's really just like the identity politic now.
Yeah.
You're on this side. We have a rock band. Believe in Jesus or don't.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about actually thinking about the theology. It's just not worth it. Just you're one of us, and here's who you hate.
Because you don't want to be part of the out group.
Right.
They're making sure that you don't want to be part of that out group, and they're making the out group, which is anyone who's not a Christian nationalist, that fundamentalism, but they're making it's so unattractive and fearful for a lot of people. So either you're with God or you're going to burn in hell for all eternity. And if God says that, there is absolutely zero reason I'd want to go to heaven.
Right.
He's like, either believe in me or die.
No, it's a bad
forever.
bit. The whole bit doesn't make a little infinite punishment for a finite crime.
Not even die, just burn in hell for all eternity.
Infinite punishment for a finite crime.
Yes.
That's in all of that. It's
for not believing in one singular person. But if God was real, he wouldn't say those things. He wouldn't believe those things.
He wouldn't punish me for using the brain he gave me. Right?
Absolutely.
Like,
he is the creator of all.
The whole myth is just such a snake oil thing. It's like you're sick, here's the cure. Right? You have to believe that you're bad in order for Christianity to work on you. But it's the one that tells you you're bad.
You're born with sin.
Yes, you're born sinful. It tells you you're born sinful, but it has the cure. So I eventually, I guess, dismissed that premise. I just don't agree with that. I don't feel like I was born bad. Right?
Nobody is.
Nobody is. Anything bad that bad relatively that is learned behavior.
Right.
Essentially. And I suppose.
And if dogs can't go to heaven, and they're the best,
why would you want to be there? Well, let's talk about that. Why does anyone think there's a soul? It's just a way to describe our personality. And the fact that human beings to other human beings appear so different, so dynamically charismatic, as opposed to ants that are all the same. Right? So we must have a soul. It's just that person was so unique and loved by me.
But as long as but humans have a hard time identifying with like an ant or a dog because they are less than.
Right.
As part of like their psyche, they're less than, so they don't have souls, so they don't have the option to go to heaven.
Right. But the idea that we have a soul is absurd to me.
The idea that we're better than anything else is absurd.
Right. So, and that's why I don't get why anyone would in this day and age. But again, to me, you're an educator, right? You don't mind being outed as what you do, right?
Yep.
Special ed teacher, which is very special in and of itself. Yeah. Need more of that.
Every single human being on earth has their place and they can contribute back to society in a meaningful way.
Especially if they're educated properly from the beginning. If we poured our hearts into educating every child, everything we actually know, religion would wither and die like a weed. Right?
As long as it wasn't dictated by moms of liberty and in our school boards and pretending to be Democrats. And
it makes me want to puke.
It's alarming. It really is, because without those really tough books, those things that they are banning now, without representation, you don't have the ability to, number one, identify with whatever it is that you are learning about, and that's the key to learning is being able to identify with something. That's how empathy is built, and empathy is such a tough skill to learn. It takes a lot of imagination to build the skills that you need in order to have empathy as a human being, because you have to be able to like recognize another person that's different from yourself. But without all of those challenging books, without all that representation, all you have is one-sided basic level ideas, and that's not how you build creativity, which is required for empathy. So when you're banning books, you're removing the hard conversations. We get to a point where we're at today.
Moms for Liberty are well known and disgusting. You keep referencing the Heritage Foundation. Tell the people what that is.
Me?
Yeah. I'm not really that sure myself, so go.
The Heritage Foundation is it's a very long-standing Christian nationalism extremism that has been infiltrating itself into U.S. politics for a long time. We didn't just get here overnight. So this has been intentional. This has been happening.
Yes, for decades.
Yes, they fund a
Project
lot of our of course. Yeah, they're the writers of Project 25.
Now I got you.
They are the funders of a lot of the people in Congress and our vice president.
Yeah, right.
And that in itself is an oppressive state where men rule, women are subservient. Everybody else who's not like me, who's not a Christian, they don't have rights. What I believe as a white Christian nationalist, is what you need to believe or suffer the consequences. And it's alarming because it is making our way into our school systems, into our politics. It's already here.
Yeah.
And it's something that people need to be aware of because it is within every single thing that is happening. It is, and they're so good at it. And if there's one thing that they are good at, it is infiltrating people's brains. It's in our ads, right? We're scrolling on TikTok. They're pushing Christian nationalism in our feeds. And if you're not aware of those things, it does infiltrate and influence the way that you go about and interact with the world.
Yeah, it really does. And there's if you're a creator like I am, you're getting shadow banned. They know what you do. They're not showing people. You have to look for atheism on TikTok. When it had a minute, right? I didn't run this up to 100,000 by not having a wave to ride on. There was a bunch of atheist creators that were getting looked at,
right?
And all of a sudden, TikTok was a threat. It's Chinese. They're spying. It's going to go away. But then all of a sudden it's not, and Trump says it's good for him and it works for him, and because.
And do you guys remember when we got that alert on our phone, the day that TikTok was supposed to be banned? Does anybody remember that?
Fuck yeah.
And it said, "Thank you so much, President Trump. We're working with him to get TikTok unbanned." And then after that, everybody's algorithm changed.
Right.
Everybody's
completely.
And I kept getting notices for Bible study.
Yeah.
And like purchasing of Bibles, a lot of ads.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you got the wrong audience here, buddy.
Yeah, right.
Wrong one.
Well, I got there's a bunch of comments you're right, I haven't been reading the comments. Nick, sorry. We're not here to please you in your mom's basement, bro. He's trying to ask why do we know time goes back? I don't know.
What is he saying?
He wants us to explain why time goes in both directions, right? Time it doesn't really exist.
What do you mean?
For one thing,
like,
I don't know. He wants us to engage in it, and he's giving me shit because we're not.
Oh, sorry, dude.
We're not talking to the con, but
I've been off on a tangent. Give me a minute.
That's okay. You and I need to get this out, right? And that's why we could probably just do this all afternoon because we just talk. And we're trying to get a new YouTube show going, so I'm not like on my face in the TikTok comments like I usually do. So, dude is bummed. He's like, "Cuck, call me a cuck." No, I don't have to be a cuck. He's like, doesn't read the comments.
This is what separates our values from a lot of people's religious moral guide. Who cares? Okay, if he was, I'm not saying that you are. I don't know him that well, but if whatever you're into, dog, we don't care. So like, it's not offensive.
Yeah, Balrog is here, my guy. I love you so much. Yeah, we're trying to get the YouTube going, and we're gonna spend a lot of time on lighting and coming up with names and making it so that we find a time that works, because I think this is too valuable and we need to fight the fight. We need to take, if I could be that guy. You watch The Boys at all, Brian? The Boys? No. Oh my God, you need to watch it.
I'm really bad at watching TV.
Oh, yeah, okay, well, I get that, but this is like the most pointed satire against the corrupt administration.
Really? Oh.
It's a little, if you can.
And it plays on TV. I'm surprised by that.
Yeah. Oh God, no. And it's
not yet, huh?
It's one of the most violent things you've ever seen on TV. Like
violent?
Cartoon comic book violence, but like gooey, gushy violence. It needs to be really, really like an over the top, crazy, pointed satire. I mean.
Wait, why is it so violent?
It's superheroes.
Okay, got it.
They become corporatized, and so like each state might have a state superhero, or there's teams of superheroes for cities and all this stuff. It's a big. It was in the beginning. It was a metaphor for what's going on between conservatives and liberals, essentially. And in the end, it's become the point where the Superman character, the number one guy, becomes so power hungry.
That's what happens.
And he calls himself God, and he becomes Trump in the last 2 or 3 seasons of the show. The writer makes it mirror the events that are going on, right down to the Christian nationalism, a huge part of it. There's a national religion, a national church, a national preacher, all of this shit, and it's and there's like a group of dudes fighting it, and they're the boys, and they're like they're trying to rid the world of superheroes, right? It's a fabulous fucking show if you haven't watched it.
I have not. I'm really boring in my shows. That's either a documentary or that's it.
Don't let me change your lifestyle. You're doing it right. I can tell you that. But and we need time for this. But it's just I'm an actor, so I like watching good drama on TV, and I seek it out.
Yeah, right.
That's
that
the
would
way
make
I wind
sense.
down.
Like that artistic creativity.
Right. That's
and
the
we
way
need all of them. And I am like black and white, and you are the creative side, and I love that.
Yeah, you're pretty creative yourself, though. She has a George Washington costume.
Yeah, call me George.
Right. See that? That's right. I thought you were trans because of that.
Whatever.
Yeah, right. Who gives a shit? Yeah,
right.
I don't know. We're all bisexual.
I don't know. They're gonna
we're all
yes.
transgender.
Yeah, you know what's so super interesting? That is like it is a spectrum, right? Like spectrum. Whatever you're allowing like yourself to experience is like what it's all about, right? Like as long as you like go against like the norm, but that's the hardest thing.
Right.
Is like being able to step outside of that box of the norm that society has pushed on us.
Umiyar came over. My guy Balrog came over to Lord of the Rings at all? You're a Lord of the Rings geek?
Balrog but I love Harry Potter.
Well, you're right there.
Yeah, almost. Just there.
It's like Harry Potter's baby. It's baby Lord of the Rings. I think.
You know what? That's a fair.
It is. It's like the fairy tale of Lord of the Rings. It's like right. About Harry Potter when we were kids. He came over, so yeah, I
think they're banning those books too, probably because it's like witchcraft or whatever. But
they're trying hard, aren't they, man? Like they're like that shit's real. That people who think devils and angels are real. It's fucking 2026, you turd.
Anything goes. Anything goes.
What are you fucking talking about, man?
Grow up.
Yeah, it's so dumb. But yeah, so I'm really not paying attention. Go ahead and read the
you have to scroll. I'm sorry.
Are you a little blind? What's your deal with
no.
You're getting to that. When I got 40, I turned 40. That's when I started not being able to read the bottles.
No, I'm wearing contacts.
Oh, you have contacts then?
Yeah.
Right.
I do. But my vision's really not that bad, but whatever. I don't know. It's like a 1.25. Like if I had to survive in the apocalypse without my glasses, I would.
Yeah.
You know. So.
I get it. Me too. It's the bigger text on.
How are you doing? Cheers.
Oh, they're talking to each other.
Oh, okay.
Like guys on there talking to each other. But no, I appreciate you guys.
Sorry to involve in your conversation.
For hanging in. That's cool. What the fuck else was I? I was just gonna bring up something.
Yeah, this is just our way of like kind of introducing ourselves and extending that olive branch to both sides to try and navigate this great divide and help people identify with the fact that like not everybody has to be one side or the other.
It's true. I hope we get guests on that are from the right that aren't trolling, right? Because the people that come on are generally they're trolls. If you follow the live at all, you've seen those people are just like
yeah, and that's fine because it always gives great talking points. And if there's one thing I could do, it is I could argue all day about anything, really.
Yeah.
It's one thing I'm really good at.
Yeah, you and me both.
Should have been, a politician.
And you don't have a bazillion friends because of that, right? My dad said to me once, he's like, "You ever notice how your Uncle
That's how I met this guy.
Everybody likes your Uncle Gary." I'm like, "Yeah, everybody does like Uncle Gary. Why is that?" And my dad's like, "Because he doesn't argue with people." He's like, "Me and you."
Yes.
If somebody says something, we like have to argue. So he's like, we only like half the people like us. And I'm like,
that's true.
It's right.
That's an interesting point. But agreeability, likability.
Yes. Right.
People like people that don't make them feel challenged.
Yes.
That's that cognitive dissonance. That's like, oh no, he agrees with me definitely. And people that look like you, that look like my husband, that look like people in my community, really, really need to start. Who look like me, really need to start standing up and being willing to get uncomfortable, have these uncomfortable conversations, and really like start stepping up, because in this society, people that have the loudest voices are the extremism, and we really need the average, everyday, agreeable human being to start being able to say, "Hey, I disagree with that," and that's what will create change. That's what will plant seeds in the minds of their peers.
You're not wrong. And we had an incident where we were doing they try to do a hands along Lake Michigan. I'm joining the woke crowd with all of these, protest efforts because I'm not down with the violation of rights and the treatment of women and out groups of all kinds. Just not down with it. You know what I mean? There's some conservative policies. If they were well planned and well explained, I could probably get behind, fiscally and such. But I'm not against going backwards socially. It's ridiculous. So we're doing this, thing on Sheridan Road, and some dude straight pulls over in a pickup truck and he blocks a fucking lane. I'm like, dude, you don't want to get hit. He's like, I'm not going to get. He puts it in park. He leaves his truck running. He's sitting there, and one of the little old ladies who was protesting comes over and he's wagging a finger at and the guy was like, why are you out here? He wasn't being rude. He literally wanted to engage. And the little old lady went over and she started yelling at him right away. I'm like, you know what? Don't yell at him. And I'm like, buddy, you feel safe, put your, maybe pull over and come talk. And I talked to the guy for a minute, and we had a real engagement, and he said to me, why are all these people, out here, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, buddy, I can tell you that I'm from the middle, and I voted Republican when I was a young man, and I'm not a crazy screeching left person, but I'm not against. I don't like liars, I don't like hypocrites, and I don't want a president who makes little old ladies upset.
Yeah,
these are like your grandma on the street because she's so upset at what's going on in the country.
He takes away their funding.
Do you want a president who's like who pisses off old ladies? How hard is it to be a likable dude or chick?
Especially if they voted for you originally, right? And then absolutely.
It's like, what the actual fuck? He's the most hated president there's ever been. And any kind of good he does, and he's done some smart things. He has. I'm not that guy who's going to say, you know what? He's got some common sense ideas that anybody who got in that job would be like, you know what? It's the old thing. We're spending $400 on a toilet seat. No, find a better way to buy a toilet seat if you're the government. There is government waste, and nobody should be for government waste, right? So like, there's little things here and there, but they'll always be overshadowed.
But the irony in that is that he is wasting so much
yes,
money.
On the other hand, wasting.
And so, but
you're not wrong.
But then when we have this godlike idea of him, right? We're in his likeness. That's the thing, is the cult following is like, yes, hell yeah, redo that the pool out in front, like in Washington D.C. Hell yeah, build that ballroom. Definitely replace everything with gold leaf, and that's the problem that we're having now. Those are the critical thinking skills that we are lacking so much of, and the recognition of like, hey, this doesn't align with like why I voted for you, what my beliefs are, my values, and being able to recognize that and train your brain, retrain your brain, rewire it to like recognize, hey, that's not aligning with what I believe this person is supposed to be doing, rather than just jumping on board and saying, yep, that's my cult leader, love that guy. Like, you have to be willing to have these uncomfortable, hard conversations with yourself that are internal conflict, and then being able to like express those and talk about it and recognize, hey, I don't like government waste, yet here he is building a ballroom with our tax dollars. Here they are getting lobster and whatever, while our soldiers are hungry and they don't have enough food for them. But Pete Hegseth can have his crab legs, and they can do a big dinner, and they can do a UFC fight at the fucking White House.
That guy's the oiliest piece of shit that you've ever fucking.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said that yet.
Oh, he triggers me so bad. Every time I see that greasy, stupid fuck, he's like the dumbest guy that you could ever report.
Have you guys ever heard him like talk, like when he does his speeches and he starts rhyming? I'm like, who is he trying to be, Dr. Seuss? Like,
or Jesse Jackson? What is it that you're doing here?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
once we get our podcast up, what we're going to do is we'll pull that video up, and it'll be the most hilarious thing ever, and we can all sit and have a great laugh about it.
Yes. We got so many ideas. I think we'll just turn on the TV and like vibe off the news and bullshit about what they say, and then switch over to. And
then we'll get banned immediately.
To Fox. I don't know. See, that's why we're going to YouTube, because I don't feel like they do. TikTok, kicks me off for. I'm surprised we haven't already gotten shit on today. For some of the things that were said, but yeah.
Yeah, let's read some of them. What are they saying?
Somebody mentioned Mayo can here. Willie Horn. Oop.
Toot toot. I don't have a horn.
Yeah, right.
Or a whistle.
I used to have two. We got to find some more.
Yeah.
But that's all right. We're trying to change brand for this thing here.
I love a good whistle.
Yeah.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't love a good whistle?
The train whistle is a good thing. The Bible says you were born into sin. It doesn't say you were born bad. The Bible says you were born into sin. That's okay, Nick.
But sin innately is in our idea, right? Sin is innately a bad thing.
Well, who's waiting to.
And somebody's definition of sin, right? It depends on what religion and what you practice.
Yeah, it's a man-made construct. There's no sin that's been handed down for,
like everything I do and the way I live my life, I'm the biggest sinner on earth.
We only have that concept because we developed the morals to think about doing wrong to other people. We're just animals on the planet that have survived long enough to evolve brains big enough.
We're social animals, though.
We're social animals, but still. In a social wolf pack or a monkey or chimps, there's not a sense of morality when it comes to taking food from another. There's not. It's not the same as ours.
But that is also what separates us at this time, because we are able to have that forethought and a lot of these things, and those like intensive critical thinking. Imagination is a really, really hard skill. And that's how we have empathy, and that's how we can recognize that our behavior impacts another, or could impact, or my behavior could influence a lot of different things. And that's where we have the obligation as a highly advanced civilization and as social creatures to take care of one another and just do it because that's the right thing to do.
And to leave the campfire a little better than we found it. Leave the campsite a little cleaner than we found it. Right?
Absolutely.
That's how I've tried to live my life.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Right.
So no, you're not innately bad. Of course not.
That's silly shit. That all and what kills me about the Western religions is the demonization of pleasure. Why is it wrong? Because it feels good. That's like a real.
It's control.
Puritan thing.
It's
like what?
Control.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Control the people by don't do what you like.
And that's what's interesting about people that are in such places of power. This is why cult leaders continue on where they don't really care anymore. Like they have all of the power, they have all of these things, they can do all of these things, they have the money, they have the power, they have the control over people. But what really gets them going is having the most control over another human being. That's their addiction. That's what continues to drive them, because this is why having this wealth is not enough. Now I'm going to assert my authority over even more. And control people. And
society at large.
Because that comes from ego.
And that's Heritage Foundation. That's what those assholes want.
Right.
Is to make this their vision of a society. That's what we're here to fight. Literally. We're gonna square in the bomb sites right there. Oh,
and that's why we have.
I said the B word.
Oh, nice job. Way to go, buddy.
But yeah. No, it's too important at this point, like I said, and you especially. Now you've got years left to deal with this fuckery.
Right.
If I was a young person, I'd really be angry. If I was a woman, my head would pop right off. I don't know how any woman anywhere is like, what the actual fuck.
And this is what is driving me to put myself out here and say these things that are uncomfortable. If somebody that I know sees me on here and they're like, oh my God, did you see Al up there and whatever. The reason that I'm here is because it is so important that people that look like me as women, as a white woman, people really need to start stepping up, because the way that we are being railroaded, our rights are continually being violated and undermined. Because if I can cross into a different state and I don't have the same rights that I did in one state and cross lines, that doesn't happen for men, right? But white women historically, and this is something that we'll get into in the podcast, but historically have sat idly by and been complicit with awful, awful things that have happened. And we were always told to shut up, be quiet, look nice, smile, and make people feel comfortable. And that is what has put us in harm's way. And that is exactly why society is set up the way that it is. Because when women get loud, when women make people uncomfortable, the negative comments that come from it, the perspective that people have of you, it changes.
Right.
And we have to be ready to get uncomfortable and to have those negative ideas of ourselves if we want to make any change.
How about it? People like you should speak up because you should. People like me should speak up because you can. Right? We can.
Yeah.
That's all I got is being white and old and
male,
heteronormative and culturally Christian, at least, right? That's all I got. So if I can't call out injustice where I see it,
then what good are you?
What do I got? And this is like the book that you can't judge, right? Because I look as white. The cops see me as a brother. I can worm my way out of most tickets because I just look like a simpatico guy. And I could put on that face if I want. But I speak Spanish. My last girlfriend was as black as dark Africa, my friend. And I'm essentially as socially progressive as anybody you've ever met. We were talking about the spectrum before. I think we're all bisexual because you're attracted to people, right? You're not attracted to a gender. You're attracted to people. Now, if most of the people by a long shot are of one gender, then we specify you as one way or the other.
Right.
In my life, I have observed and been a part of the, a social, as an actor and a florist, for God's sake. I've been around gay guys since I was a kid.
Right.
And I've been beating them off in my back for a long time too, and it's all great, right? And none of that ever bothered me. But if I was going to tell you that I wasn't attracted to a couple of them over the years, I'd be lying. It's stupid, right? You're attracted to people.
And women, I'm like, whew, I get a little nervous.
Right?
Like, wow.
Well, how do you not? I mean,
like our waitress
I'm
this afternoon, I was like, oh my word.
Yes, fat. You're right. Right.
Like, wow.
What a bot on that shit. But yeah, mercy sakes, yeah. And I'm fabulously straight.
But it doesn't make me angry to the point where I feel like I need to make sure that your ideas are banned, or that this person is oppressed because of how I'm feeling internally. Because I've been able to recognize, like, oh my God, why am I feeling this way inside? Oh, it's because of the norms that society has pushed on us.
So check out Nikki Baker thinks that Catholic guilt is insidious. Do you agree with that? How'd you get over yours? Yeah. Nikki Baker, 1226.
Yeah.
Talk about that while I get water.
Yeah, that's super interesting. That's a really good point. But I think it's not even just Catholicism. I think it's religion as a whole. Because in our Western society, as soon as we're born, we are historically, it's always been, you have to believe in a God, and that's become the norm. And if you don't, right, then we have this fear and this worry about, like, oh my God, am I going to hell or whatever? Because it's been such an ingrained piece of who we are as a society, that there's a God and you have to follow this, otherwise X, Y, or Z will happen. And I think that's why it's innate with us because of our upbringing.
Did you get that water before?
Say what?
Is that your water before, that bottle? Or that
yes, this is mine. Thank you.
Okay.
But yeah, it's ingrained in us, and regardless of whether or not your parents growing up, right, were super religious, that they still followed the same ideologies and practices, and still push those same religious norms, even if you didn't go to church, right? You're still like, oh yeah, you're white, you're Christian, whatever, or Catholic, whatever it might be. But it's there. It's always there. It's like this broad spectrum of, there is a God, and if you don't believe in him, then you are a crude, nasty, awful atheist, right? And you don't want to be one of those.
Well,
so yes,
you said, heaven for weather, hell for company. That's all Mark Twain, right? Yeah, if heaven's full of those assholes, I wouldn't want to be there anymore. And I want to be down on the block of white caps over there.
Right. And the other thing is, like, I think this is what really did it for me, because if there's a God, right, a creator of all things, and there is a heaven and there is a hell, and if I spent my entire life being a great human being, right, I help animals and children and people, and I just want the world to be a good place for everybody. And old people, I go and hang out at the nursing home sometimes. And I deliver flowers on Valentine's Day, whatever.
Thank you, sweetie.
Yeah. And it's so sad because they don't have anybody. It's like so sad. But anyway, if I can spend my whole life doing these good things, just being a good human, because like that's just what society is supposed to be.
Right.
But because I didn't believe my entire time, if I didn't acknowledge God and worship a God, then I'm going to be in hell. Whereas a nasty, horrible human being can repent for their sins by believing in God, and they're going to be in heaven. I would much rather want to spend the rest of my eternal burning in hell fighting against the oppressor and fighting with the oppressed.
Yeah. Well said.
So anyway, that's my thought on it.
You got the thoughts, this one, right? Say, I finally found the co-host for me, right? So yeah, I don't know. Purplecast. What do you think? We gotta brainstorm names.
Yeah, Purplecast.
We have to do all that stuff. Have to have an email.
Sounds pretty woke.
Well, purple. I don't know. That's the point, right? Like sky blue, ultra blue is woke. We have to change the background. Maybe it's too blue.
It is too blue.
Yeah. Get some purple. I got purple out there though. I like purple.
Purple's a nice color. All colors are good colors.
Oh.
Because without color, our life would be so bland and boring.
Yeah, everything would be black and white. It'd be no good.
Yeah.
When I was a kid,
the gray and blob.
What's up, Princess Anne? I couldn't conceive of my dad and my mom's world being in color.
Because of all of the pictures.
All the pictures and all the TV from that time and everything. Mm-hmm. I couldn't get it out of my dreams in my head that my dad at some point was black and white, you know. Even I knew it wasn't true, but I couldn't get the picture out of my head.
And that's actually a super interesting topic because a lot of people have a misunderstanding, I did forever, of history, because we see pictures in books and textbooks and whatever in black and white, which is actually intentional because it makes it seem like history was so long ago, right? They make it seem like it was so long ago, it's like hardly even touchable. But what's fascinating is, like, I was an adult when I realized that my dad was 10 years old when segregation became illegal. And then my grandma, my dad was in his 20s. He was a full-blown adult male when my grandma was finally able to own her own bank account.
She couldn't have one.
Not until 74.
Yeah, that's right. Had to have a cosigner, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep. She couldn't even go and buy her own wash machine.
Yeah.
Without my grandfather's money or permission.
Yeah.
And she was the bookkeeper. I'm like, oh my God, that's so insane to me.
Shit's fucking changed. A lot of shit's changed.
Right. Like, I mean, it's absolutely fascinating to me. Like, that was not that long ago. Like, Ruby Bridges, she has a TikTok. Ruby Bridges.
Who's Ruby Bridges?
The first black little girl to go to a non-segregated school.
Oh, how old is she now?
In her 70s.
Yeah,
she's got a TikTok.
Yeah, good for her. See that? People give me shit for having a TikTok. They're like, you're too old.
But like, that's crazy.
What the fuck? That's crazy.
The little girl and all these people were out there protesting and spitting on her. You know, like half of our government was already full blown in their 40s.
Right.
God.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like,
none of it was very long ago.
And they're okay with going backwards. Like, that's what's crazy. And our understanding of history really needs to change so we can identify more with how things were before, because we are certainly going backwards.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
The older you get, the more it becomes clear that none of that was very long. 250 years is nothing. We're like, 250 years.
Yeah, comparatively, but I guess the Earth is only 6,000 years.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, less than 10. If you push them, they're all like less than 10. They don't like to be pinned.
Like, dinosaurs weren't real.
Yeah, the rabbis will be pinned. They'll give you a year, but the new Earth creation is ding dongs. Well, certainly less than 10 because people know that China's been around for longer than 6,000 years for one thing. So that gets hard. That gets hard for them.
Also, like all of our ancient structures, like hello.
Yeah, all of that shit.
Hello. But they're like, no, didn't exist. God wasn't. Mm-hmm. God didn't make us yet.
It's true. I'm going to get into a point where the pop-up comes to tell me to make sure I'm human, right? Like, they make you fill a puzzle piece.
I don't know. I've never gone live before.
Yeah, they make a drag. Oh, that's your first time on the
my
live.
First time, going live ever.
Well, like I said, and thank you. We got it going a little bit on YouTube already, so that's cool. But I don't know. Do you guys have thoughts on a better time? Like, when's like the big time for YouTube viewing? When a new show is like an evening show,
probably. I would say probably like a weekday evening.
When's Joe Rogan do his thing?
Maybe like 6 p.m. where like people are like eating dinner and chilling out, and then they'll like tune in. They can just sit and like be mindless.
See, I'm gonna rely on you for that because you're one of them youngsters.
I don't know. I spend too much time on TikTok though.
Do you?
I'm a scroller, man. I am a scroller.
All right.
And sometimes my algorithm will like really come through, and I just get like super hilarious things. I'm on there for independent news sources and journalists, but and world news. But I keep getting the most bizarre random things on TikTok, like this woman who makes puppets out of like taxidermy animals. I don't know why she keeps coming up. And then like another woman who like takes this like corpse animatronic thing along with her on like rides. So I don't know what's going on there.
Human corpse, like a
he's like
person robot.
Yeah, well he looks pretty much almost dead. He's like this really old like fake person. And I don't know why that comes up there, but I don't even know why I'm talking about that. But anyway, so sometimes that's what I get, and I think that is so funny.
You're feeding your algorithm.
I'm like, how did I lay this brick? I don't know.
Do you ever feed like disinformation into the? Like I know people swear by like clicking things they don't like on Facebook so that it fools.
So like, yeah, but then if you like one thing, then you get like 74 of those.
Yeah,
it's like it's annoying. I'm looking for variety, right? I got this ADHD brain cannot just like stay on one topic for too long.
I know how that is.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. In real life, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. I know exactly. If I was born later, they would absolutely diagnose me with ADHD.
And the other thing is like, if I was born back in the day, right, 100%, I would have been burned at the stake. Witch, she's a witch.
Why?
And then, if I was born a little bit later, they wouldn't even have like put me in an asylum.
Oh, like if you were born in the 1600s, when they were actually
right. It would have been straight lobotomy for her.
Just because you were so heretical.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh, yeah. It's so outlandish.
Yeah.
She's a witch. She's crazy, and she's got hysteria. That's what it is. And
okay, so then if you were born a little later, then what?
No, straight lobotomy.
Oh, they would. Yeah, they would.
Straight up lobotomize me, right there.
Institutionalized.
Like, no, not even. They wouldn't even do that. They wouldn't be like, don't waste your time, just lobotomize
just
this
send
one.
her home, then you'd be smoking cigarettes.
Just lobotomize this one. She's doomed.
Smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee at his kitchen table,
mm-hmm.
right, for the rest of your life.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, they would have, diagnosed me with hysteria or whatever, but that's the history of how they've always treated women. That's all right. I'm going to say something really strange here. That's how the vibrator was invented. Fun fact.
How?
Because they thought that women were, suffering from hysteria, and the only way that they could make it go away is by giving them an orgasm.
Yeah, then that's like on the road to wellness.
It was too hard for the doctors. It was laboring work and whatever. So that's why they invented the vibrator.
Well, it's laboring work because if a woman's not into it, it's not right. It was like your doctor being clinical and you're not attracted to how you're supposed to get off that way.
Yeah.
But there was like road to wellness has that.
Hysteria. That was the cure.
Yeah. You're not wrong. And hysteria comes from the word for the womb, for the womb. Mm-hmm. That's why hysterectomy is the same.
Right.
Yeah, it literally means having a womb.
And that's going to be another topic, is how our medical understanding and our practices are so awful, and they're based off the oppression of women. And only supporting men, and that's why
male circumcision is about beating down women's sexuality. Have you know this?
I feel like I've heard it, but tell me more.
When I did a whole documentary on circumcision. I just did it on my own on the advice of a French woman that I was dating at the time. So it's a little bit new for me. It was one of my first forays, but you can still find it at atheistunderground.com. The first 4, 5, 6 episode 4, 5, 6 of the podcast have 3 parts of a little mini circumcision documentary.
Really?
And one of the things that I sussed out was that essentially circumcision in the Puritan world, while not prescribed by the Bible, became they were ignored because it supposedly stopped boys from masturbating, right? Because the extra skin on your penis acts as a like a funnel, like a sleeve that you need less friction to become excited, right? Because it's working on the inside of itself, like a sleeve, instead of just the glans penis rubbing on whatever it's been inserted into, right? So it has its own lubrication. And the head of your penis.
So you're telling me it's all about control?
Yes, well, I'm getting there. So if you cut off the foreskin, it makes it harder for a boy to masturbate to the point of ejaculation. But it's certainly not impossible, right? Just makes them try harder. So it has like the opposite effect, right? It probably makes them do it more.
But that's what happens with control.
But in the end, the extra skin of the foreskin serves to stimulate the clitoris during sexual intercourse. And with that gone, there's less direct contact with the clitoris during sexual intercourse. And so women have a harder time reaching orgasm during sexual intercourse. So in the end, the Puritan practice of circumcision is an act of violence against a man, which is more acceptable than a woman. But in the end, it beats down women's sexual desire.
That's super interesting. And it's not surprising.
It makes it easier for Puritan women to say, you know what, we've had our kids, you're done. You get no more. There's no more pussy. Right. So that's the way it went. And men got used to it, and then all the other things come with.
And then became norm. It became the norm.
But men still need what they need, and so.
And then we make fun of men that don't follow that norm, right?
Right.
And then it becomes exactly, and that's the other thing we'll talk about too, is how men in society are also they're brought up to be. I'm going to use my words carefully. like ignorant and egocentrical and self-fulfilling, because men in society as children, right? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like that's another topic, but men have been raised by society and by their parents and normalized to not recognize their own feelings, right? So if you can't recognize your own feelings, right, it's like, don't cry, you can't cry, don't be a girl. And they can't recognize the feelings in themselves, and they're taught to shut them down and to not act on any of those behaviors because you don't want to be a girl. And that's why so many men have such a hard time with communication, social emotional skills, regulation, and intimate interaction and empathy. Empathy is a hard skill. I keep saying that, but and the other side of that is and women have been taught to be smile, make other people feel comfortable, which puts us in harm's way as it is, instead of being like, no, I can't, I can't say no, I can't make them uncomfortable. So we are also vulnerable in that sense as well. But it's super interesting, the heteronormative things that we push on people. And that's why, we tell men, you can't paint your nails, you can't play with dolls, you can't do this. We've also taught men, and it's gonna be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, but we have taught men through this form of society, through this like form of normalization, to hate everything that it means to be a woman. Because you can't talk about your emotions. You can't, don't be too chatty. Don't share too much. Don't, show your emotions. Don't talk to people. Don't, paint your nails. Don't play with baby dolls. We have taught men to hate and associate shame with everything that it means to be a woman.
Or traditionally feminine characteristics.
Right.
You don't need to be not that women need to be submissive, but that whole thing, it's the shaming, of being.
So men associate their partners like with everything negative. How can you love a woman and respect and appreciate and uphold women if you don't respect that? Like you've thought of them as something shameful and to be oppressed and to be ashamed of.
But then but on the other hand, they feel like they're worshiping them, and it's a whole mother whore thing. That's a Catholic thing too. A woman is either Madonna or Mary Magdalene, right? There's no just my partner, my person. Right. Yes. It's one or the other.
Yes.
The untouchable goddess.
That's so interesting.
Or the piece of shit whore. That's right. Good. It's very odd.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Yeah. Interesting.
The whole thing.
So those are all of the things that we're going to talk about, right? We'll also talk about like policies, how it's impacting education, specifically students with disabilities. It's really my number one thing. That's how I got here in the first place. I saw the writing on the wall for what these policies and like the propaganda, right? The whole Tylenol thing, the whole autism thing, the whole, the writing is on the walls, and students with disabilities, right? The ones who have the littlest voice or no voice at all are the ones that are going to be impacted the most. They want them back in institutions. And as long as I'm alive, that'll never happen.
Yeah, for real. I grew up when I remember we all knew where they were. You'd drive by, like there's Mansfield Training School. They called one of them. And it was just it was like barracks. I think they actually were old converted barracks, to be honest with you. It was just house after house after. And some, there's a lot of people who need some severe help, right? People with severe disabilities, water on the brain, and shit where you can barely function, right? But even those people get treated so much differently nowadays. They made such progress, it's crazy. Those places don't really exist like they used to. Unfortunately, there's probably some here and there.
But students that I've worked with personally, it is insane, and it really opened up my eyes to so many things. When I was younger, and this is why I got into what I do now. Why I got into education.
You got a troll.
Yeah, we are. I'm so sorry. Sorry, we're woke AF. Sorry.
I like my women feminine as fuck.
Sorry, then you can, that's not me, dog.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I mean, I'm feminism.
Wait, but you hate feminism.
Yeah, but he likes them.
But you like them feminine?
Yeah.
Make up your mind, buddy. You can't have both.
I'm sensing a little bi there. Just a little bi vibe there.
Anywho, what I was talking about was students with disabilities, kids with autism and are nonverbal. They are literally just like me and you, right? But they're stuck in their own brain. The way that I explain this to people that don't have a lot of experience with it, is that it's like they're their brain can't tell their mouth what to say or their body how to act. And one of the highlights of my life, right, I'm able to get students to communicate through different modalities. So either it's a device, a keyboard, or a letter board, whatever it might be. And some of the things that these students have said, it just really makes you like recognize, like, holy shit, like these are people, and they are so very capable of contributing back to society.
That's gotta be so gratifying.
It is, but it breaks my heart because like with how many other students out there are not receiving this, and especially now that they're decreasing and just defunding the Department of Education, because without the Department of Education, there is no oversight or compliance for IDEA or FAPE. So,
but when you break through with someone, it must be so beautiful.
It is. It really is. And like, and they have said so many incredible things, and their vocabulary is extensive. And and I mean, their skills are insane. Like I could tell a kid, all right, what's 472 times 1345 or whatever. And obviously I don't know that. I'm terrible at math. But like they're able to, if I put the letter board in front of them, they're able to, tell me. But the thing is that, and then I'll fact check it, and it's like, whoa, like it blows your mind. But this is why we need to support education. We need to fund education, specifically special education, and we need oversight and compliance with IDEA and FAPE.
Yeah, all those people are such valuable contributors. The more, again, we were talking before about how they've just sort of come out of the woodwork with the atheist group. Neurodivergent people are as common as assholes at these atheist groups, and they're all fabulous once you get to know them, especially if they stick it out. Like sometimes they don't come back, and I always try to be super welcoming. And, you know what I mean? And I can see right away. I'm an observant guy, and I can tell right away if something's, and that's cool with me. And then and over the years, 3 or 4 of them have become real friends. And they learn to talk and come out of their shell and joke, right? They get your humor after a while, and they throw it back at you, even if sometimes it's a little bit juvenile, a little bit.
Whatever.
You're like, yes, he's trying,
that also goes back to like when we don't allow students to mainstream their social emotional development is so much lower than
stunted. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of all of that work.
Well, not to mention that so in the United States right now, the average population reads at less than a 6th grade comprehension level.
Yeah.
This is how we're operating as
including
a
society. The
president. Less than a 6th grade.
Including the president. Yeah.
So, yeah, fun schools.
Fun schools. Education is the bottom. And I continue to promote the idea that if we taught first graders, as soon as they're out of kindergarten, you start teaching them basic philosophy, basic mythology of philosophy and religion across the board. Just teach it. Everything we know.
You don't even have to teach it. You could just allow them to be exposed to.
Well, whatever it is. I think they've shown that they can learn it. You have a simple philosophy class for first graders. They get it. People around the world, across history, have had their own ideas.
Yeah.
And it's all valid, right? If you do that.
We really don't do that.
No, but if we did, Christianity would die faster than you could say Jack Robinson.
Yeah.
It really would, because they don't. To me, we learned in 5th grade, we learned Greek mythology and Norse mythology, and I loved it.
Really?
I love mythology so much. We learned those 2 mythologies, and it struck me years later that they picked those 2 mythologies because they don't mirror the Judeo-Christian mythology. If they picked Egyptian or Old Assyrian or something that made people think, wow, my religion's just like that, and that's a myth, it would make more kids question.
Yes.
But they don't teach you those ones in school. And to me, if they did, if they taught it all across, and kids get it. Kids are fucking smart. They get it right away.
Kids are so smart.
They're so smart.
And their brains are like developing, and they absorb. So
and
that's another one of my things that I've studied was child development and the brain. And your brain, so based on like the experiences that you have, and the more that you're exposed to, your problem solving, your creative problem solving, and problem creating, those are the most important things. And your brain is, by the time you are 8 years old, that determines how well your brain will function. The efficiency of how your brain will function for the rest of your life is determined by 8 years old.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So the more you use those neural pathways, the more that you build, the more that you create and problem solve. And, it's not rote teaching. Rote teaching has its place, but the more kids are exposed to things like problem solving and problem creating, that's where your neurons and your synapses in your brain will fire so much more efficiently.
And they're halfway there, because you don't see like how, especially since when I was in a liberal state where education was important. My parents were educators, so I don't really count. But in general, we know a lot more about early childhood education today than we did. And every Karen in the suburbs, every creepy Christian Karen, understands that they need to interact and read with their kids on a level that they wouldn't have 60 years ago, 80 years ago. And now they all know. But then on Sunday, they take them and lie to them at the same age where their brain still is susceptible to, and then they believe that forever. They can't help it. That's how indoctrination works.
Yes.
So, if you inoculate by teaching them everything, you avoid indoctrination, because
then we don't have control over the people.
Yeah.
Through means of religion and culture.
Right. And and the people will argue that creates some problems down the road. But I continue to argue that if you educate everybody better, you're going to have less of the greed, less of people taking advantage of each other. Because now
the ego goes away. Once people are able to interact as intended without ego, right? That goes away. The control, the desire for almost like the psychopathic tendencies, the sociopathic tendencies.
Yeah. And God knows if I could get rid of my ego, you can do it too. It's gonna be a tough one for me. But I get what you're saying, and that's like, okay. Yeah. Ego comes second when that shit's at stake.
And being able to recognize your ego goes back to being a free thinker, critical thinking, recognizing biases.
Yeah. Questioning yourself. Absolutely.
And being able to be willing to be vulnerable and put yourself out there. And that's where I'm at.
Word.
That's why we're here.
Awesome. You got time restrictions? What's your take gonna be like in general on Sunday?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Wait, what'd you say?
What you have time restrictions? What's your it's almost 3 now.
Yeah. Yep. Well, usually Sundays I do my Sunday resets. So I gotta, clean my house, do my dog dog beds. They have to all get washed.
Mercy.
And that's a whole project in itself. Just do your Sunday reset, get ready for the week. It's actually gonna be the last week of school. Whoa.
That's right. Yeah. School's ending. Yeah. I'm gonna be 2 weeks from now. I'll be down in North Carolina.
I think we should do. I don't know. I think we should do like a weeknight, right? Where like people are making dinner and just scrolling, whatever.
Yeah. No, I think we should pick a whole.
Scrolling mindlessly, you know what I mean? Like they're just making dinner and they can listen to something.
Lucy works there in the evening, but the Umir said the same thing. He's like, an early evening thing would be great for him. I think that's a good point. We have large dreams wind up being.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just reading this kind of.
Yeah, we do the rollback. You guys talked a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, when you get told to smile, yuck. First of all,
right.
That's what you do is what you do is on Halloween, right after Halloween, when everything goes on clearance, you take those little blood capsules. You know what I mean? The blood things, and you and then you can get fake blood or whatever, and then you just keep one of those in your mouth, and then if men tell you to smile, then you just bite on one of those puppies and just have it all in your teeth.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I would have been that kid who did some shit like that. I used to pretend I was dead all the time as a kid.
Oh my God.
Let my mouth hang open until I drooled. See if I could just do it long enough until I actually drool a little bit.
Right.
Just be a goof. But I was the class clown. I had ADHD. I didn't know.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And as a woman, we're always told you're too much. I
would get straight A's every fucking time, and every time I got a parent-teacher conference, my parents would get dragged over. Oh my God, I get dragged out in the hall. Oh man, I was always in trouble.
We call those what? What is that? What is it?
Butler pills.
Butler pills. Love it. There's a name for them. Sweet.
Because Islam and Judaism both believe the son of Abraham. They are both son of Abraham, if we're to believe the history. Disability never good. John Twickle, he's our troll, I think.
Disability is never good.
Probably the soaring above tyranny, guys.
It's not a good or bad thing. It's just a thing, dude.
Yeah, I am. I don't know. Disability.
LOL.
I never allowed my children to play with dolls. I didn't want them to learn females were toys. Okay.
But that's an interesting thing. Because that's how people when kids play house and they have an imaginative play, that's how they develop those skills that they're going to use while they're adults.
Right.
So the way that they are able to treat a baby and learn to treat a little baby, that's how they're going to interact with the baby when they're older and have children if they so choose to.
Thank you. That is not my cat. I'm rolling back through. See, we haven't been paying any attention to the stuff. But yeah, I think they took care of a troll. Yeah, moderators ratings for these.
How does that work? How do you get moderators?
Well, I'll appoint somebody. If I like bring up somebody's profile, I can make them a moderator, and they can like take care of trolls.
And they just do that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Thanks for doing that.
I need to get a tissue, but we can wrap this up in a second if you want.
For sure.
That's
so,
Al. Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, that's what we're here for. I don't know, you can drop some comments in there and you can say, things that are interesting to you or topics that, we should talk about or whatever it might be. It's really going to be like one topic per session, right? Otherwise, I think we would never be able to, wrap our brains around all of the things that are happening at this time. So things that you guys think of, let us know and we can dive deep into them. So
we'll work on the format. We'll bring some lights. We'll make a set that's maybe a little bit more convenient to conversation.
Yes, and I won't go out golfing the whole day before either.
Well, I'll go golfing with you one day.
That'd be great. I'm terrible at golf.
So am I. I've been golfing since a little kid.
Oh, not me.
Grandpa's basement clothes.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, we on a bike. Call it the biathlon.
Ride
your bike to the 9-hole course and play 9.
Oh, that's cool.
That's how we grew up. I did. Chad did. But we'll wrap it up tonight. Thanks for hanging in, you guys.
Have a wonderful week.
Have a wonderful week. We'll pick a night and then start doing that probably and make this I think we'll probably record it and distribute it on the podcast platform.
Yeah.
So, we don't know.
We're gonna figure it out. We'll find our niche.
We will. We're dedicated. All right. I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, guys.
Love you a long time. This one's got like a 30-second delay. I'm not sure how long this one does.
Beats me.
Here's for Lucy.
Bye, Lucy.
When she gets asked to smile, she gives the most half-assed, laziest smile. I love it. So